Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we're talking about weddings.
That's right. We are having a wedding, but we're actually planning all the things out for the wedding.
That's right. So there are lots of things to think about when you're planning a wedding, and I don't think that the woman in today's dialogue has forgotten anything. Let's take a listen to the dialogue first, and we'll be back in a moment.
Trina, will you marry me?
Yes! Jared, of course I'll marry you.
Oh, babe, I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you. I can't wait for all the adventures we're going to have, for all the fights and the laughter. Can't wait to grow old and wrinkly with you.
Oh, Jared, I can't wait for our wedding. I hope you don't mind, but I've already chosen a date. 6 months from now in the summer. Melissa saw you buying the ring last month, so I had plenty of time to start planning.
She what?
Oh, don't worry, sweetie. I didn't know when you were going to propose. It was still a nice surprise. As I was saying, I've got it all planned out. There's almost nothing left to do. I wrote up our guest list, and we will have roughly 400 guests attending.
400?
No need to sweat it. My parents agreed to pay for most of the wedding, which is going to be a low budget anyway. So roughly 400 people, which means that the hall at Northwood Heights will be our reception venue. I thought it would be nice if we had the wedding at your parents' church, and my uncle, of course, would be officiating. We'll meet with him soon for some pre-wedding counselling. The music for the wedding ceremony was a no-brainer. My stepsister and her string quartet will take care of that. My cousin will be the official photographer. I thought it would also be nice if his daughter could sing a solo. Did you know that she's going to be a professional opera singer? And then, of course, the ladies at the church would love to be our caterers for the banquet, and we'll get the youth group to serve us. I was thinking that your friend's band could be our entertainment for the night, though they might have to tone it down a bit. Or we could hire a DJ. Your sister's husband could get us a discount with that company that does the decor at weddings. What's their name again? I was thinking that we could have an island paradise themed wedding, and our theme colour would be a soothing blue like aquamarine, and there will be a huge seashell on the wall behind the podium where we'll make our toasts. What do you think of small packages of drink mixes for our wedding favours? Who else am I missing? Oh, your uncle could be our florist, and his wife could make our wedding cake.
Oh, wow.
See, it's going to be wonderful. Oh, this wedding is going to be everything I ever dreamed of.
If I survive the next 6 months.
All right, we're back. So she talked a lot. So there are a lot of words and phrases here that we're going to take a look at. So let's start with a couple of them on language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
All right, so on language takeaway, why don't we start off with the first word and the basic one. Before you start to plan a wedding, the guy needs to propose.
Or the woman. Let's be 21st century here. Normally it's the man, but to propose in this instance means to propose marriage. So basically this is the part where someone gets down on his knee and he says, you know, sweetie pie, I want to be with you forever. Will you marry me?
Right.
To propose.
So to propose is to ask someone to marry you.
That's right.
But it can also mean something else, right? To suggest.
That's right. So I could propose an idea.
Uh-huh.
Or I could propose a plan.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, to propose has another meaning, and it's basically to ask someone to marry you.
Okay, very good. So now we've proposed to someone, so we need to start planning our wedding. And I think one of the first steps is you need to know how many people are going to be there and who you're going to invite.
That's right. So when you're planning a wedding, you have to think about the people that are going to attend the wedding. So you prepare a guest list.
Okay, so a guest list. Now, it's pretty simple, right? You have a list where you put everyone's name there and you know how many people are coming.
Exactly.
Okay, a guest list. Now you have your guest list, and now you need to pick a place where your wedding will be.
That's right. So we often talk about two parts to a wedding. The first part is the ceremony, the wedding ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you're religious, that happens in a church.
Okay.
But there's a party afterwards, and that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about a reception.
Okay.
A reception is basically the party part of the wedding where you drink and eat and listen to music and dance.
Okay.
So obviously for that, you need a space, a place to have the party, and we call it the reception venue.
Okay, a venue. So, as you said, the reception is the party and the venue is the place where you have it. Now, a venue is not a specific word, right? You can use venue for many different places.
That's right. So, for example, someone's having a concert. I can ask him, hey, what's the venue?
Okay.
That means, what is the theater, or where's this place you're going to have the concert?
Okay, so for example, a stadium can be a venue, or a restaurant can be a venue.
Exactly. So a venue is a place where an event can be held.
Okay, very good. So now we have our reception venue, we have our guest list, and the girl was talking about her uncle officiating. What does she mean by to officiate?
Okay, so like you said, the verb here is to officiate. Her uncle will be officiating. That means he will be the person who marries them. So maybe you've seen movies before where there's a priest who says, do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife till death do you part?
Right.
That person who says that, the person who asks the questions, he or she it officiates.
Okay. Officiate. So that's basically the action of marrying someone or leading the ceremony.
That's right. And in America, this isn't just anybody. Someone has to have
like a license.
A license, or has to be a priest and has to have the authority to officiate.
Okay. Very good. So that's a very interesting word there, to officiate. Now, moving on, when we talk about the food for the reception venue, well, we need somebody to cook it and prepare it, and that's when we hire caterers.
That's right. So a caterer is kind of like a cook, but a caterer basically arranges a meal for many people. And usually the person will bring the food to you. So, for example, if we're going to have a party, Marco, and we're going to throw it at a venue 10 miles away, the caterer will bring the food to us.
Okay. Okay, so that's a caterer. You get someone to cater your wedding.
That's right, or cater a party. So I've had parties before that I've called caterers to make the food for.
Okay.
So basically they work with me and I tell them the kind of food I would like and they prepare it.
Okay, very good. And now for our last part for the wedding planning. You have the food, you have the venue, you have everything, but you also need to decorate a little bit. And this is when you call a florist.
Florist. So this sounds a lot like flower, right? Florist, flower. And then that's basically what this person does. A florist is a person who prepares flowers or who cuts flowers and uses them to decorate.
Okay. So you go to the florist to buy flowers, roses, and different types of things. Okay. A florist. Very good. So 6 key words there that are related to planning a wedding. Why don't we move on now to a couple of phrases on Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
All right, so this first phrase is a really good one. It's a little bit gross. We're talking about sweat. The woman in this dialogue says, hey, no need to sweat it. So what does this mean?
All right, so if you say to sweat means when you're running, you're doing exercise, it's hot, water starts to come out of your skin.
Yummy.
Right? But if the person says, hey, don't sweat it, or no need to sweat it, it's a colloquial way of saying don't worry.
Oh, okay, so we're not actually talking about sweat here.
No.
So maybe, Marco, you and I are working on a project together, and I say, listen, Marco, I'm so sorry. I have a family emergency. I can't finish the project with you. Would you be able to help me out? I'm so sorry.
Sure. Don't sweat it. It's not a problem.
Okay, so don't worry.
Don't worry. Right, so if you tell someone to not sweat it, don't sweat it, no need to sweat it, you're basically telling them it's okay, it's not a problem, everything's going to be fine.
Great. So the next phrase here is also kind of relaxed. It's kind of laid back. So the woman is still describing some of the things she's prepared for the wedding. And she says, hey, listen, don't worry. The music was a no-brainer. Okay, no-brainer.
Okay, this is really easy. Well, your brain is inside your head, right? So if you say no-brainer, it's basically saying you don't have to think about it too much, or it's very easy, very simple.
Okay, so I was deciding on where to go on vacation, and the options were Thailand or Antarctica.
That's a no-brainer.
Right.
Thailand.
Obviously, I want to go where it's sunny and warm. So a no-brainer means I didn't even have to think about it. It was that easy.
Right. The decision-making was a no-brainer. All right, so for our next phrase, the girl was also talking about the music. And she was talking about a band, maybe like a rock band. And she said, well, maybe they could play, but they would need to tone it down.
Okay, so this is a favorite phrase of parents, I think,
Yeah.
all over the English-speaking world. Tone it down. In this case, we're talking about music. So maybe, like you said, the friend's band is a rock and roll band, and it's really loud and angry and, in your face. But for a wedding, that's not appropriate. So to tone it down means to make it more appropriate for the occasion. So maybe less loud or no offensive language or no swear words.
Right. That's basically what tone it down means, right? If someone says you need to tone it down, it's a little bit more direct. Yeah, like you said, if your parents tell you this, it's maybe because you're being a little bit too loud or you're yelling or you're being irrespectful.
Yeah.
So that's why your parents would tell you, hey, you need to tone it down a bit.
That's right. Or sometimes we have this in the office where someone doesn't understand how to communicate in a positive way. And so they say, oh, that paper you did was really bad. It was stupid. I don't ever want to see it again. Say, well, maybe you need to tone it down a little bit. Think about the words you're using and make them a little bit less harsh.
So kind of to relax, to reduce your level of being aggressive, of being loud. That's to tone it down.
Exactly.
Okay, a lot of great phrases there. Why don't we now go back, listen to our great dialogue one last time, and we'll be back to talk a little bit more.
Hello and welcome to Super English Zone. I'm really excited you're here today because we're going to explore a topic that brings together love, culture, and plenty of practical English vocabulary: weddings. Yes, planning a wedding might sound stressful, but it's also full of meaningful and memorable moments. And guess what? It gives us a perfect chance to learn real, useful English. Whether you're attending a wedding, planning your own, or just curious about how these events work in English-speaking cultures, this episode will help you sound more natural and confident. Let's begin with one of the most beautiful moments in any relationship: the proposal. To propose in English means to ask someone to marry you. It's often done with a ring, a heartfelt speech, and maybe even a bit of nervous shaking. Phrases like, "Will you marry me?" or "I want to spend the rest of my life with you" are common during this emotional moment. But propose can also mean to suggest something like, "I propose we take a break." Understanding both meanings helps you avoid confusion in different conversations. Now, once someone says yes, and hopefully they do, you'll need to start planning the big day. This is where you'll hear terms like guest list, which simply means a list of everyone invited to the wedding. It's a practical term used in many situations, not just weddings. You could create a guest list for a birthday party or a graduation ceremony too. Native speakers use it often. Is your name on the guest list? Or, we need to finalize the guest list by tomorrow. Another key term you'll hear is venue. A venue is the location or place where an event happens. Weddings can take place in churches, gardens, beaches, or even barns. Yes, barns. Have you chosen your venue yet? Or the venue is beautifully decorated. You can also use venue for concerts, conferences, or even sporting events. Weddings are not just ceremonies. They're also big celebrations. That's where the word reception comes in. It's the party held after the ceremony, where guests eat, dance, and make toasts. A reception venue is the place where that party happens. And believe me, English-speaking cultures take wedding receptions very seriously. There's food, music, dancing, speeches, and sometimes even games. It's a time for joy and, of course, practicing your social English skills. So in just one special event, a wedding, you'll find many new words and expressions that are used in everyday English as well. That's what makes learning through real-life topics so powerful. You're not just memorizing words, you're learning how to live in the language. Weddings are one of those events where every little detail matters, and that's exactly why it's such a rich topic for building your English vocabulary. One important detail in any wedding is who will officiate the ceremony. To officiate means to lead or conduct the formal parts of ceremony. It's often done by a priest, a minister, a justice of the peace, or even a trusted friend who has permission from the government to perform marriages. You might hear someone say, "My aunt is going to officiate our wedding," or "Who's officiating the ceremony?" It's a useful word you can also apply outside of weddings, like officiating a meeting, an event, or even a sports game. Now let's talk about another major part of the wedding experience: a caterer. A caterer is someone who prepares and serves food for an event. This is a word that goes far beyond weddings. You'll hear it when someone is organizing a corporate party, a school event, or even a film shoot. In conversation, people often say, "We're hiring a caterer for the reception," or "The caterer did an amazing job with the food." You can even use the verb form. They catered the entire event. This is great real-world vocabulary for learners who want to sound natural and professional in English. Of course, no wedding is complete without beautiful flowers, and that's where the florist comes in. A florist isn't just someone who sells flowers. They design arrangements, bouquets, and decorations that bring beauty and color to special occasions. It's very common to say things like, "Let's stop by the florist," or "The florist is delivering the flowers at noon." And here's a fun cultural note. In many English-speaking countries, flowers are a must for weddings. People will often spend hours choosing the perfect combination of blooms for their theme or color palette. Speaking of themes, many modern weddings have a specific decor style. Decor means decoration, the visual style and elements that make a space look beautiful. You'll hear this word a lot in interior design and event planning. Someone might say, "The decor was stunning," or "We went with a vintage decor for the wedding." It's a great vocabulary word that helps you describe spaces in a clear and stylish way. All of these roles, the officiant, the caterer, the florist, and even the decorator, show how much teamwork is involved in organizing a wedding. And as an English learner, understanding these words helps you participate in conversations about events, planning, and hospitality. You'll not only understand native speakers better, but you'll also be able to contribute your own ideas with confidence and accuracy. That's the real goal, to speak English with ease in real-life situations. When it comes to wedding planning, or really any kind of event, there's always a lot to think about. That's why English speakers often use informal, expressive phrases to talk about stress, excitement, or easy decisions. Let's start with one of the most common and casual expressions you'll hear: "Don't sweat it." This phrase means don't worry about it. It's friendly, relaxed, and used in all kinds of everyday situations. For example, if someone forgets to bring something to the wedding, you might say, "Hey, don't sweat it. We got extras." Or if a friend is nervous about their speech, you could reassure them by saying, "No need to sweat it. You'll do great." Using expressions like this helps you sound more like a native speaker and connect with people in a natural, friendly way. Another great expression is no-brainer. A no-brainer is something so obvious or easy that you don't even have to think about it. Imagine choosing between two wedding venues. One is small and expensive. The other is large and affordable. It was a no-brainer, someone might say, meaning the decision was super easy. This phrase is also great for everyday decisions. If someone asks, "Do you want free dessert with your meal?" you could smile and say, "That's a no-brainer." These are the kinds of phrases that bring life and personality to your English. Now, let's look at the expression "tone it down." This is a really useful phrase when someone or something is too loud, too flashy, or too intense. In a wedding, for example, if the band is playing rock music too loudly during the dinner, someone might say, "Can they tone it down a bit?" It means to make it less loud or less extreme. But you can also use it in daily life. If someone is speaking very aggressively, a coworker might say, "You should tone it down. It's not that serious." It's a polite but direct way of asking someone to be calmer, quieter, or more appropriate for the situation. Phrases like "don't sweat it," "no-brainer," and "tone it down" are not just good for your vocabulary. They also help you understand the emotional tone of conversations. They're casual, idiomatic, and very common in spoken English, especially among native speakers. When you use them correctly, you'll sound more confident, expressive, and relaxed. And remember, learning a language isn't just about memorizing words. It's about understanding how people actually speak. These expressions bring your English to life and help you communicate in a way that feels real and human. Whether you're planning a wedding or just chatting with a friend, these phrases help you connect naturally. And that's what language is all about. Weddings are filled with love, joy, and, let's be honest, a bit of chaos. One word that perfectly captures this mix of excitement and stress is bridezilla. This is a playful but critical term used in English to describe a bride who becomes overly demanding or obsessed with perfection during wedding planning. The word combines bride and Godzilla, the giant movie monster, to suggest someone who's out of control. While it's usually used in a joking way, you might hear friends say things like, "Watch out, she's turning into a bridezilla, or I love her, but she needs to calm down. It's a fun example of how English speakers blend humor into everyday language. Another useful term that pops up during wedding talk is cold feet. No, this doesn't actually mean your feet are cold. It's an idiomatic expression that means someone is getting nervous or having second thoughts, usually before a big commitment like getting married. For example, he got cold feet the night before the wedding. Means he started feeling unsure or scared. But cold feet isn't just for weddings. You can use it for any big decision like starting a new job or moving to a new city. I was excited to move, but now I'm getting cold feet. These kinds of expressions help you describe emotional moments in a vivid and relatable way. Now let's switch to something more festive. Toast. In English-speaking cultures, giving a toast at a wedding is a big tradition. A toast is a short speech to honor someone, usually followed by everyone raising their glasses and drinking. The phrase make a toast is used very often. For example, I'd like to make a toast to the happy couple, or she gave a beautiful toast at the reception. You can make a toast at birthdays, retirements, anniversaries, any celebration where people gather to share good wishes. Knowing how to understand or even give a toast in English is a great skill that shows both confidence and cultural awareness. Let's also talk about wedding favors. These are small gifts that the bride and groom give to their guests as a thank you for attending. It could be a candle, a mini bottle of wine, or even a small bag of candy. This tradition is common in many English-speaking cultures, and the word favor in this case means a small keepsake. You'll hear people ask, what are you giving out as wedding favors? Or don't forget to take your favor before you leave. Understanding this word in different contexts, like doing someone a favor versus giving a wedding favor, helps you build richer vocabulary. As you can see, weddings bring out a variety of language, from emotional idioms to cultural traditions and colorful slang. And the beauty of learning through these topics is that you're not just expanding your vocabulary. You're also gaining a deeper sense of how language and life connect. The more you explore real-life situations in English, the more fluent, flexible, and fluent you become. One of the most exciting parts of any wedding is the music, and that's another area where we find rich and useful English expressions. When people talk about wedding music, they might say things like the song choice was a no-brainer, or the DJ really knew how to keep the crowd moving. These comments not only reflect personal taste, but also show how music is tied to mood and atmosphere in English-speaking events. You'll hear phrases like set the tone, as in the band really set the tone for the evening. This means they created the perfect mood, whether it was romantic, joyful, or energetic. This phrase isn't just for music. It can apply to speeches, decorations, even lighting. For example, the lighting set the tone for a cozy evening. Another key part of weddings and any large event is managing expectations. In English, you might hear someone say, we're trying to keep the budget low, or it's going to be a small, intimate wedding. These are polite ways of saying they're trying to avoid spending too much money or inviting too many people. The phrase intimate wedding means a small event with close friends and family, and it's commonly used when people want to emphasize quality over quantity. You can use the word intimate in many other settings too, like an intimate dinner, an intimate conversation, or even an intimate setting to describe a cozy, private atmosphere. Budget is another word that appears often in conversations about weddings. It refers to how much money you're willing or able to spend. People say things like, we're on a tight budget, or we went over budget. These expressions are useful in all kinds of financial situations. Whether you're traveling, shopping, or throwing a party, understanding how to talk about money in English helps you communicate clearly and responsibly. Now, let's talk about themes. Many English-speaking couples choose a wedding theme to tie all the visual elements together: colors, flowers, outfits, and even food. Popular wedding themes include rustic, beach, vintage, or bohemian. You might hear phrases like, we're going with a vintage theme, or our theme is tropical paradise. The word theme is powerful because it's used in education, business, entertainment, and personal planning. You could say, the theme of the conference was innovation, or her birthday party had a superhero theme. These examples show how wedding vocabulary overlaps with everyday English. Words like budget, theme, intimate, and phrases like set the tone or no-brainer are incredibly useful beyond weddings. They help you talk about planning, organizing, and decision-making in both personal and professional life. And the more you practice using them, the more confident and expressive your English becomes. Weddings are not only about love and celebration. They're also about logistics, a word that refers to the detailed coordination of people, places, and activities. In English, when someone says, "The logistics of this wedding are overwhelming," they mean the planning is complicated and involves many moving parts. You'll hear this word in business too. We need to handle the logistics of the product launch. It's a high-level word, but it's used often in everyday English to describe anything that requires serious planning or organization. One major logistical task in a wedding is choosing who will do what. English speakers often use the phrase "take care of" to talk about responsibilities. For example, my cousin will take care of the photography, or the youth group will take care of serving the guests. It's an easy, flexible phrase you can use in many situations, at home, at work, or in casual plans. "Don't worry, I'll take care of it" means you're responsible and willing to handle the task. It's polite, helpful, and very natural in English conversation. Another phrase that comes up often in planning is roughly, as in, we're inviting roughly 200 guests. The word roughly means approximately or about. It's used when you don't know the exact number or when the number isn't final. You might say, "The project will take roughly 3 weeks," or "We have roughly 10 people on the team." This is a polite and professional way to be honest about uncertainty while still giving helpful information. Let's also explore the phrase "start from scratch," which many people use when they're building or planning something completely new. Imagine a couple saying, "We're starting from scratch because our venue canceled last minute." It means they're beginning again without anything already prepared. You can use this phrase in so many situations: cooking, business, writing, and more. "I lost my document and had to start from scratch" is a sentence that office workers, students, and creatives alike can relate to. This expression is full of emotion and meaning, especially when things don't go as planned. Finally, we should mention pre-wedding counseling, which some couples choose to do before they get married. This is a helpful time to talk about expectations, communication, and future plans. In English, counseling is a word that comes up often, not just for couples. There's school counseling, career counseling, and even grief counseling. It simply means professional guidance or support through conversation and advice. You might hear someone say, "We're seeing a counselor to help us communicate better." It's a respectful, thoughtful word that reflects a desire to grow and improve. So many of the words and phrases connected to weddings are also essential in other parts of life. Whether you're planning a big event or just managing daily tasks, expressions like "take care of," "roughly," "start from scratch," and "logistics" give you the vocabulary to express yourself clearly, confidently, and naturally in English. When people plan a wedding, they often rely on their support network, a group of friends and family who help make everything come together. In English, it's very common to hear phrases like "we're counting on our support network" or "our support system really pulled through." These expressions are useful in all areas of life, not just weddings. Whether you're starting a new job, moving to a new place, or facing a personal challenge, having a support network means you have people you can trust and depend on. Learning how to describe relationships and responsibilities like this is an important part of becoming fluent in English. Let's also talk about discounts. In the wedding world, people are always trying to find ways to save money, and that's where discounts come in. You might hear someone say, "We got a family discount from the florist," or "my sister's husband got us a great deal on decorations." The word discount is very common in shopping and budgeting. Other useful related expressions include "get a deal," "save some money," and "cut costs." These phrases can be used in everyday life. "I'm trying to cut costs this month," or "I found a great deal online." Understanding how to talk about money in English makes you sound more natural and practical. Speaking of decorations, let's explore the idea of a wedding theme again, especially when it's something fun or unique. For example, an island paradise theme might include palm leaves, seashells, and aquamarine colors. People often say things like, "Our color theme is navy and gold," or "we're going for a nature-inspired theme." These types of descriptive details are great for expanding your vocabulary. Instead of saying something is nice, you can learn to say it's elegant, relaxing, romantic, or fresh. This improves not only your descriptive language, but also your ability to express opinions and preferences in a stylish way. Now let's focus on a small detail detail that makes a big impact. Wedding favors. These tiny gifts are a way to show appreciation to guests, and they're often personalized. You might hear someone say, "We're giving out custom drink mix packages as wedding favors," or "The guests love their little keepsakes." The word keepsake is another beautiful term for something you keep to remember a special moment. You could say, "This photo is a keepsake from our trip," or "She gave me a keepsake to remember her by." Words like this help you express emotion and memory with elegance and clarity. These elements, support, discounts, themes, keepsakes, show how weddings are built not just on love, but on teamwork, creativity, and thoughtful details. For English learners, they provide an excellent opportunity to expand your vocabulary in ways that apply far beyond one event. These words and expressions can be used in your everyday conversations, whether you're planning something big or simply sharing your thoughts in a meaningful way. Planning a wedding is a journey full of dreams, details, and a fair share of surprises. One of the most charming parts of it all is the way people personalize their events to reflect their personalities. In English, you'll often hear the phrase "make it your own," which means to take something traditional and add your personal touch. For example, they really made the ceremony their own by writing custom vows, or the decorations were classic, but the couple made it their own with family photos and handmade signs. This phrase can be used in many areas: fashion, cooking, home decor, even learning English. You might hear, "That recipe is great, but I made it my own by adding extra garlic." It's a beautiful way to express creativity and individuality. Another meaningful part of wedding planning is thinking about how people will experience the event. English speakers often talk about creating a memorable experience. You could say, "We want to create a memorable experience for our guests," or "Her speech really made the whole night unforgettable." The word memorable is powerful and emotional, and it can be used in many situations. A memorable trip, a memorable concert, a memorable first day at work. It's the kind of word that adds depth and feeling to your English. Let's also talk about a phrase that reflects how people feel when something goes wrong. "If I survive this." In the context of weddings, it's often used with humor. For instance, "The guest list keeps growing. If I survive this, it'll be a miracle." It's not meant to be taken literally, but expresses stress in a lighthearted, exaggerated way. You might say, "I've got 3 exams next week. If I survive this, I deserve a vacation." This kind of dramatic humor is very common in spoken English and helps you express big emotions in a fun, relatable way. Another useful word from the wedding world is counseling. We touched on pre-wedding counseling earlier, but let's explore its broader use. In English-speaking countries, counseling is seen as a healthy, proactive step towards solving problems or improving relationships. You'll hear people say, "We're going to relationship counseling," or "I've started career counseling to figure out my next steps." Learning how to talk about emotional support, mental health, and personal growth in English can help you connect with others on a deeper level and express your needs more clearly. Finally, there's the beautiful concept of growing old together. In English, this phrase symbolizes a lifelong commitment filled with shared memories, ups and downs, and lasting love. Someone might say, "I can't wait to grow old with you." And it's one of the most touching ways to talk about a future with someone. It's romantic, timeless, and filled with hope. And whether you're describing a relationship, a dream, or a long-term goal, expressions like this give your English a poetic, emotional quality that touches the heart. Thank you for being a part of the Super English Zone.
Trina, will you marry me?
Yes, yes, yes! Jared, of course I'll marry you.
Oh, babe, I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you. I can't wait for all the adventures we're going to have, for all the fights and the laughter. Can't wait to grow old and wrinkly with you.
Oh, Jared, I can't wait for our wedding. I hope you don't mind, but I've already chosen a date. 6 months from now in the summer. Melissa saw you buying the ring last month, so I had plenty of time to start planning.
She what?
Oh, don't worry, sweetie. I didn't know when you were going to propose. It was still a nice surprise. As I was saying, I've got it all planned out. There's almost nothing left to do. I wrote up our guest list, and we will have roughly 400 guests attending.
400?
No need to sweat it. My parents agreed to pay for most of the wedding, which is going to be a low budget anyway. So roughly 400 people, which means that the hall at Northwood Heights will be our reception venue. I thought it would be nice if we had the wedding at your parents' church, and my uncle, of course, would be officiating. We'll meet with him soon for some pre-wedding counselling. The music for the wedding ceremony was a no-brainer. My stepsister and her string quartet will take care of that. My cousin will be the official photographer. I thought it would also be nice if his daughter could sing a solo. Did you know that she's going to be a professional opera singer? And then, of course, the ladies at the church would love to be our caterers for the banquet, and we'll get the youth group to serve us. I was thinking that your friend's band could be our entertainment for the night, though they might have to tone it down a bit. Or we could hire a DJ. Your sister's husband could get us a discount with that company that does the decor at weddings. What's their name again? I was thinking that we could have an island paradise themed wedding, and our theme colour would be a soothing blue like aquamarine, and there will be a huge seashell on the wall behind the podium where we'll make our toasts. What do you think of small packages of drink mixes for our wedding favours? Who else am I missing? Oh, your uncle could be our florist, and his wife could make our wedding cake.
Oh, wow.
See, it's going to be wonderful. Oh, this wedding is going to be everything I ever dreamed of.
If I survive the next 6 months.
All right, so about weddings and planning out a wedding, do you think 400 guests is a small wedding?
No. I think this woman is out of control. In fact, in English, we have a word for a bride, or like a woman who's getting married, that describes someone who's completely nuts about the wedding. We call her a bridezilla.
Bridezilla.
That's right.
Like
So-
Godzilla.
Exactly. The movie Godzilla. He's a monster.
And he's out of control.
He's out of control. And a bride who's so obsessed with her wedding that nothing else is important. She is a bridezilla.
Now, it's a very big thing for a woman, right? For her wedding to be nice and perfect and everything. Do you think guys are more relaxed in this sense?
I don't know. I think it depends on the guy. As always, there are some people who want to be very involved and some people who don't care. But in general, I think men are less worried about the details.
They just as long as there's a wedding, it's fine.
Exactly. Although a lot of men, when the wedding actually happens, start to get very nervous.
Oh, but kind of like having doubts, maybe cold feet.
Yes, cold feet. Like, should I get married? Should I not get married? Uh-oh.
I think it's very interesting because you see this in movies a lot. And I've always wondered how often or how common is it for a guy or a girl to say no or to leave a wedding when it has already started? Because, you know, you have invited all these people, all these friends and family, maybe people came from different countries, and food is paid for, venue. You spend so much money on a wedding, and for you to say no. I don't know how common it is. It's very common in movies, but I don't know anyone who's experienced this.
I don't either, actually, now that you bring it up. So maybe we could talk about this. Is this common in your country? First of all, do people spend a lot of money on weddings? And second of all, have you ever heard of someone actually leaving the wedding before they finished?
Yeah, during the ceremony, not before, during.
During the ceremony. So our website is englishpod.com. We hope to see you there. Until next time.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Having a lot of wrinkles. Wrinkly. Ask someone to marry you. Propose. Simple or that needs further changes, etc. Rough. The place where an event takes place. Venue. To perform the official duties of a ceremony. Officiate. Something so simple as to require no thought. No-brainer. Someone who provides food and service. Caterer. The way something is decorated. Decor. The way something is decorated. Decor. Someone who grows and deals in flowers. Florist. Souvenir with a small gift and given to a guest at. Favor. A celebrity who receives much acclaim and attention. Toast.
Let's try that faster.
The place where an event takes place. Venue. The way something is decorated. Decor. Something so simple as to require no thought. No-brainer. Having a lot of wrinkles. Wrinkly. Simple or that needs further changes, etc. Rough. Ask someone to marry you. Propose. To perform the official duties of a ceremony. Officiate. Someone who provides food and service. Caterer. Someone who grows and deals in flowers. Florist. Souvenir with a small gift and given to a guest at. Favor. The way something is decorated. Decor. A celebrity who receives much acclaim and attention. Toast.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Venue. Now that we know our numbers, we can choose our venue. Venue. Which venues were you considering for the concert? Venue. The venue for tomorrow night's gig is the chic new restaurant downtown. Officiate. Her brother officiated her wedding. Officiate. Who is officiating this contract? Officiate. His parents insisted that he have a justice of the peace officiate the wedding. No-brainer. Going to class is a no-brainer if you want to do well in school. No-brainer. The answer to that question is a no-brainer. No-brainer. Who I want to be my maid of honor is a no-brainer. Caterer. The caterers arrive several hours before the guests to prepare and cook the food. Caterer. Whoever was the caterer for the banquet was phenomenal. Caterer. I am hiring Gaston as my caterer for the event. Toast. I propose to make a toast to the happy couple. Toast. We made many toasts to health and happiness that night. Toast. The best man was so nervous that he stumbled through his speech and even dropped his glass during the toast.